The sun is shining, the weather is wonderful. It's almost normal in Talladega, Alabama. Well, not all the way normal, but normal enough for the return of the ARCA Menards series. It's coming at you next, right here on FS1. The green flag is out, and we are racing. 5 wide.
Still grinding on each other.
This is going to happen all afternoon. A little contact. Here he comes inside. Look at that push, side by side. Trouble. Oh, it is getting good. And we are racing in the ARCA Menards series. Unprecedented times have finally given way to NASCAR's return to racing as the ARCA Menards series welcomes you to the Talladega Superspeedway, home to the General Tire 200. Yeah, we're talking about pre-event registration, screening, limits on teams, masks, and of course, social distancing. The same applies to those of us here in the booth today. Hello, everyone. I am Dave Reef. Sitting next to me right over there, that is Todd Bodine right down there. That is Matt Crafton. And how about this juicy fact? Between the three of us in the booth, there are 5 NASCAR Ganders RV and Outdoor Truck Series champions. Proud to be on that list, guys. Matt Crafton, let's start with you as the current racer that's had to deal with the pandemic pause, if you will. For drivers in the ARCA Menards series, it was 107 days since we last raced in Phoenix. The normal off-season is 116, but the big difference, Matt, between the off-season and this pandemic, you knew when you were going racing after the off-season, not so in this case.
Yeah, biggest thing is the unknown. Usually, like with Truck Series, we always end at Homestead, and then we're going back in Daytona, and you know what the schedule is. It was the unknown this time because we just didn't know when we were going to get the nod to go back racing. And then next was, usually you start at the beginning of the year and it's a lot cooler, but the drivers are going to go through a lot of heat right now because they have had 100-some days without being in a race car that hot.
I mentioned sun, it's pushing 90 degrees, Todd, and when we talk about getting back into a race car, what can we expect out of these guys today, having not been in the car for so long?
Well, Dave, their normal off-season is they go back racing at Daytona, 2.5 miles, and Speedway race, well, they're going after this pandemic break. They're back at a super speedway, Talladega, 2.5 miles. But that's basically where the similarities end. Daytona was 63 degrees at race time. Beautiful late afternoon race. Today, the race temperature is about 87 degrees. It's right in the heat of the afternoon here at Talladega, and we know how that's going to be tough on these race cars. Slick racetrack. The driver's going to have to deal with that. They didn't have to deal with that at Daytona. They had a lot of grip, so it's going to be a totally different race than we saw at Daytona.
Did you see the back of that 12 car? The only place social distancing doesn't come into play, drafting here at Talladega. As 21 drivers begin to get into their cars, an opportunity for us now to talk about ones to keep your eyes on. And I start with Michael Self, the current point leader, now a 2-time Daytona winner. His best finish at Talladega, Matt Crafton, is 3rd in 2018. He's going to change that today.
Hailie Deegan, she did a really good job at Daytona this year, and I mean, she ran, like I said, 2nd at Daytona, so I think she's going to be one to watch here at Talladega without a doubt.
How about Gus Dean? He's the only former Talladega winner in this race, and Gus is always a contender on plate tracks. He knows how to get it done.
You know, I love that Monster Energy 18 this weekend, driven by Riley Herbst. 2nd a year ago at Talladega, scored a top 10 at Daytona. He is sure to contend today, as is this driver, that good-looking $1.15 machine, Drew Dollar. He's our Bounty Rookie Spotlight. A few moments ago, our own Katie Osborne on pit road had a chance to catch up with him.
Talladega, it's a daunting track, and this is Drew's only 2nd super speedway start. Drew, what's your mentality as a rookie heading into a racetrack like this?
Yeah, I've got a ton of confidence, actually. Feel really good about it. I know our Camry's got a lot of speed. We're able to make about 3 laps earlier in practice, but I feel good. Venturini guys brought me a really good car, so just ready to get going.
As you're ready to get going, you're starting in the front row, number 2, actually. What is your initial plan as the green flag drops?
Well, I know these General tires are going to have a ton of grip through the restart zone, so we're just going to fire off, get going, and I've got some really good help behind me with Riley Herbst and the 18 Gibbs car, so I'm confident. Maybe we'll be in the lead by lap 1.
Wishing you the best out there, Drew. Dave, 3 rookies are starting top 3 here today in Talladega.
That's Ryan Repko, Drew Dollar, Hailie Deegan. We'll have the rest of the starting lineup coming up in just a little bit, but what do you say we kick this thing off? It's time for our virtual command to fire engines.
Look.
Good evening, race fans. I'm Brian Bayerwaltis, Senior Manager of Marketing for General Tire. Tonight, the spotlight is on Talladega Superspeedway for the ARCA Menards Series General Tire 200. We realize these are unprecedented times, And as part of the efforts to bring some normalcy back to all sports fans, we're proud to sponsor tonight's race and bring it to you here on FS1. As the official tire of the ARCA Menards series and believers that with the right tire, anywhere is possible, we're thrilled to see these drivers and teams return to the track. We'd like to thank everyone at ARCA, the Speedway, local officials, broadcast partners, and all others involved in their efforts to get us back to racing. So on behalf of everyone at General Tire, I'm honored to say, drivers, start your engines!
The calm before the storm. Drivers making the finishing touches. But soon, fellas, we'll hear those cars roar to life, and racing will be back in the ARCA Menards series. Window nets are moving up.
When I'm not racing, I like to do other extreme sports since I'm an adrenaline junkie. So I snowboard all the time. I just learned how to do my first 360 this year on a snowboard. Just do crazy stuff all the time because if I'm not racing, I have to get the adrenaline from somewhere else.
I'm like an FBI agent. Like, if you give me a person's name on social media, I can find them. No problem. Like, first name, last name, whatever it is. All I need is a small detail, and I can find them on social media. So I call myself an FBI agent.
Tennis player. I played a lot of tennis in high school, varsity, and all that. So, hidden talent, definitely tennis.
I can shoot pretty well. I really don't miss often. Have you ever seen Suicide Squad with Deadshot? That's me. I don't miss.
I'm a pretty good whistler. I've always thought, like, you know, you hear whistling in some certain songs. Like, I could be that guy. I could definitely do that. I can't sing, but I can whistle.
I can't whistle either. Guys, do you have any hidden talents that we don't know about that we need to know before we go green today?
Well, I've been doing a little work with my hands. I like to do a little remodeling, some kitchens, some bathrooms. Anybody needs some work, give me a call.
Crafton, what about you?
No, we're not going to talk about mine on air today.
That sounds like some good social media fodder. Maybe we'll get into later, but when we come back, the starting lineup and the green flag of the General Tire 200 Talladega. Spotlight on the ARCA Menards series. This is Talladega. Looking 3 wide. Big contact. Top toe to the line. Even. Photo finish. Can anybody make a run on Todd Gilliland? Not gonna happen. Todd Gilliland crosses the start-finish line and grabs the win. Just some of the dramatic moments witnessed here at Talladega as the ARCA Menards series is ready to compete today in the General Tire 200. It's KG veterans, it's talented youngsters, just like our General Tire Pole Award winner. Again, with social distancing and NASCAR's, getting back into it, we actually selected the pole out of the top 20 driver standings from last year, and that is how Ryan Repko, the 20-year-old out of Denver, North Carolina, has earned the General Tire pole. He is racing alongside of Drew Dollar, who we introduced you to earlier. Drew Dollar coming in at age 19. In fact, let's go ahead, guys, now and take a look at the entire General Tire starting grid row by row, and it is the Venturini teammates in the Toyotas on row number 1. Haley Deegan comes in at the 3rd spot, and a Toyota of Riley Herbst starts 4th. Beyond that, what do you guys see?
How about Michael Self, our Daytona winner?
He'd be tough.
Yeah, he's always tough. Great speedway racer.
We got Brett Holmes. He'll be carrying the General Tire onboard camera as well.
And Tanner Gray, he's actually been racing a little bit in the truck series, so he's got a little tune-up going on. He's going to be all right.
In the 17 car, he was 17 when he won an NHRA Pro Stock event, 18 when he became a champion. Scott Melton seeing all of these racetracks for the 2nd time ever this year. Good to have Willie Mullins back as he's teaming up with the Andy Hillenberg team, the Fast Act driving folks. And Tommy Vi and Brad Smith. Tommy Vi, last year's Rookie of the Year. Brad Smith, nobody on this field's been doing it longer, getting close to near 400 events started. There's Gustine. He's got a long way to go, Todd.
Yes, he does, but he knows how to get it done here. These guys in the back, it's going to be a game of patience for, I think, these guys. Talladega, you're not going to just drive their front. So Thad Moffitt, he's starting last. He was 5th at Daytona, so he knows how to get it done also.
21 cars, but we've got 5 onboards for you here today at the General Tire 200. And we start with the Richmond Water Heaters onboard camera. That's the driver for Chad Bryan. It's a Ford, belongs to number 22 of Brandon Lynn. His 5th straight Talladega start, and he's a pretty good super speedway racer.
Yeah, how about Gus Dean? He's the only former winner in this field, the Talladega winner, and it's Mashon Apparel Company onboard camera.
This is Brett Holmes, one of 3 racers that actually got a little bit of experience. He's taken the General Tire onboard camera, starting 6th. We move up 1 position in front of that. That's where we find Michael Self.
Yeah, Michael Self. You know, he's Daytona winner. We're going to get a lot of great shots out of this camera. He understands this plate racing. Going to get it done.
And you know what? We talked to him earlier. How about Drew Dollar and our Bounty Rookie Spotlight on board? This kid is confident, and why not? He's got a great starting spot. Let's see if he can parlay that into a good finish today. 13 consecutive races at Talladega with a different winner. That's one of our storylines. Let's catch up with another one as we check back in with Katie Osborne down on pit road.
Coming off of 2 top 10 finishes, a second at Daytona, Hailie Deegan is building on that momentum, but she also used this pseudo off season as a time to really prep to go racing again. Back home in California, she decided to get that Can-Am out in dirt. She went go-karting just for fun, but she also spent a whole lot of time on the sim. But things really got serious when she made her way back to North Carolina to the Ford Performance Simulator, and she changed her focus to race mode. Running consistent laps on the sim became key. She told me that in real life, you can't just push the reset button, and the price to pay is a whole lot greater. We will see if this mentality and training pays off today for the number 4, Dave.
About the only thing, Katie, that kept her from all of those adventures was that new puppy. That could be like having a child at home, but Hailie Deegan glad to be back in the race car for sure. Well, let's talk a little bit about Talladega Superspeedway. Todd Bodine, what makes it a super speedway?
Well, it's 2.5 miles is why it's a super speedway, but you know, the corners are 33 degrees, lots of banking, but Matt, the one thing this doesn't show you is how wide these corners are.
Oh, this place is really, really wide. You have a lot of different choices to be in, different lanes to be in. I'm sure the preferred one's going to be on the bottom for a while, but I'm sure that outside is going to get some big surges today.
Well, not only did we control the starting lineup with a draw, there's also some other factors that are going to factor into this 76-lap, 202-mile race. As we take a look at the General Tire 200 at Talladega, everything you need to know about today's race. Most importantly, guys, there's going to be a mid-race break. Teams get the opportunity to come in, work on their race cars. Don't want anybody fueling, changing tires if they have to, except for during that time. So that's going to add a little bit of a wrinkle. But the way the cars come in at that mid-race break is going to be the way they come back out when we start the second half of this race. So opportunity now, all the cars again get up to speed, get the tires warmed up to talk about the General Tire Super Speedway Challenge. This is the second of those races awarded to tracks and teams that compete at over a mile in length. Obviously, when Michael Self wins Daytona, he's got that 25 team atop the standings, but these are the other racetracks we're going to see, including Talladega today.
Yeah, this is a very interesting mix of racetracks, really. You know, you got Daytona, Talladega Super Speedways, and you got Pocono, the big tri-oval with 3 corners, and a few mile and a half that all race different. So it's a great program for the ARCA series.
107 days are about to be put to rest. Pace cars about to pull in. And once the cars come off turn 4, find that start zone, kick things off here at the General Tire 200. Crafton, you got rookies out there on the front row. Any concern with you heading down the front stretch into turn 1?
No, I think you're going to have enough grip right here on the original start. So they're hopefully going to play it a little bit safe, get single file for a little bit. But I know there's a bunch of kids in there going to lead a bunch of laps.
Well, the obvious question on most of these drivers' minds, including Matt Crafton over on the Truck Series, when would be the next time you would be able to get behind a wheel? A question that didn't have any answers, at least on the ARCA Menards Series, until 70 days into that 107-day pandemic stretch. 37 days ago, they were told, we're going to go racing at Talladega. And finally, on June 20th, the pandemic can be put behind these drivers, and we're about to go green flag here at Talladega. this race is underway and that fight into turn number 1. Look at Riley Herbst pushing on the back of the 15.
That's exactly how you get out front. You got to get up tandem, do a little tandem drafting, gave him a great push and got them both to the front of the field.
Drew Dollar said that that could possibly happen in his interview with Katie Osborne, and look at that, it certainly did.
I think maybe that was a little planned action there.
Could be beneficial for both.
He did talk about it a little while ago. They executed it very, very well.
The top 5 goes to tail as Repco sits in 3rd. Haley Deegan in that 4 car runs 4th. So the early portions of this race, guys, what do you expect this field to do?
Well, I didn't expect them to go 3 wide like they're going right here, but you know, these guys are anxious to race. It's been a long time off.
And it's Brandon Lynn on the inside of Tanner Gray, the meat in that sandwich, if you will, with the 8 car, the good-looking Sean Colride.
How about Moffitt already?
Is that
11th?
Thad Moffitt
Yeah.
from 21st to 11th?
Incredible first lap.
He's lined up with his teammate. He's got a bunch of great Fords right there, so they're going to do some pushing right here and probably work their way back up to the front.
If ARCA Racing is new to you, Thad Moffitt, the grandson of the king, Richard Petty.
I kind of expect them to settle in a little bit here, run some laps and see what their cars are doing in the draft and how they're handling, get some heat in the tires.
Todd, do you remember what it was to be 18 to 25 again? You got to try to lead every lap here.
I don't remember that far back. I'm sorry, man. That was a long time ago.
At what age do you learn that patience and perseverance? Let's go back and take a look at Gus Dean in the 32 car. Close call. That's the black car entering the meat and the sandwich here with Scott Melton. Ooh, a little touch maybe from the inside of the 12 car. Some good car control there, though.
Yeah, I don't think the 12 car expected that thing to push up, but fortunately did get into Gus real hard. Gus did a great job of hanging on to it.
Guys, we talked all about the challenges of the pandemic, not knowing when we'd get back, but let's also talk about the fact that we had really shortened practice. They did give these guys the opportunity to go out for about 5 minutes. That's it. Chance to race around with a few people, and suddenly we're in the car going green.
That's actually a really good call for the ARCA Menards Series officials to make that call. There's some of these guys that really haven't been to these places at all or just a couple times. So just to get their feet wet again is definitely a good thing.
Well, Thad Moffitt's more than getting his feet wet, Katie Osborne. He is coming to the front.
That's absolutely right, Dave. He is so far one of the biggest movers in the pack, although Derek Smith, his crew chief, said, we will not plan on changing tires the entire race. His advice, do not slide them on pit road. Please take care of them, Dave.
That is one of the benefits of the General Tire. Longevity certainly won't be a problem during this 202-mile race unless something happens.
Yeah, that's very impressive, General Tire. To be able to run one set of tires for the whole race is incredible. Definitely a cost-saving measure for these teams, not having to wear out tires. But these guys, here are Mike myself, the onboard camera.
Current point leader running 5th. This is a 5-car freight train, Matt Crafton. This kind of run away. Drew Dollar says, I'm fine with it, and I guarantee everybody 2nd, 3rd, and 4th is as well.
Yeah, if that second group will get single file and stop trying to race each other, they might be able to run them back down. You see you have Tanner Gray leading that group, so.
Well, it looks like they listened to you, Matt. They all got back in line back there. We'll see if they can run them down. I think that they can. We got that first group breaking the air for them, so they can get a pretty good draft and maybe get back up there.
Math is not my strong suit. That's actually a 6-car breakaway. Throw that 23 of Brett Holmes in there. Brett taking part of the ARCA race out in Toledo. We mentioned the other guys that have done some racing, Riley Herbst, Tanner Gray. We'll talk more about what that experience, if any, helps them in today's race. But quickly, we want to check in with Katie once again.
Riley Herbst telling me earlier that he likes to show up the track and rip it. These are the fun races, he says, out of everything that he does. He also said that he really enjoys super speedways. He likes them because a lot of people hate them. He likes the science behind them, and some say that it's luck, but he thinks it's a little luck, a little skill, and a little science.
Riley running in 2nd right now. He's finished in that position a lot. I guarantee he wants to take that 18 around the 15 and be the last man standing. But we're only 5 laps in to a 76-lap race. We'll be back to the General Tire 200 in a moment. already past the 24-mile mark of this 200-mile race. It is the General Tire 200 at Talladega. As you take a look at the Sinclair lubricants on board of the current point leaders of the series. Michael Self, who's running in 6th. He had the best seat in the house, perhaps one of the more interesting moments. You guys picked on a few moments ago involving Hailie Deegan.
Yeah, right before we went to break, Hailie had her first lesson about speedway racing here at Talladega.
That's the car all the way up on the right, the toter machine that gets tucked down below the apron. Matt Crafton, that's bad.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely a handful. This place is so nicely smooth, but there is a seam down the front straightaway right through that tri-oval, and it looked like she got her right side tires in it. And she looked like tried to pull it out of it and went below the apron. And it makes it a hairy moment for sure.
We see Riley Herbst did the same thing right there.
Well, he is ripping it, Katie said. That's the way he likes to handle these things. But Hailie Deegan picked up a lot of experience in finishing in that runner-up spot. Did say she felt very, very comfortable coming into this restrictor plate racing, into this kind of pack style thing. But I don't know if you ever are done learning how to race that way, are you?
No, absolutely. Every lap that you make on a racetrack, you're learning something. I don't care how many races you've run, how many years you've run. There's always something that you can learn and make yourself better at.
At what point here do you expect the top 5, Michael Self, if he can climb back up into this pack? Do you think they'll get racy, Matt Crafton?
Oh, yeah. Whenever if that second group can catch that front group, they're definitely going to want to do something. I did see Self has lost that front pack right there, so that'll actually help the second pack catch the front pack because they will catch Michael as well.
Last time past the scoring stripes, about 7/10 of a second from Michael Self up to Brett Holmes. Brett, one of the racers we talked about, getting some experience. He raced in the Hearst Potato Chips 200 over on the ARCA Menards East Series. You've spent some time, Matt, racing in the Truck Series with Riley Herbst, Tanner Gray. Todd, I'll start with you. Does that little bit of experience help these guys versus everybody else that's been out of the car for so long?
Oh, absolutely. You know, you get in there and you knock the rust off and you get in your rhythm and you understand and, you know, race the way it progresses and the things that go on. So it's definitely a big help. And these guys are definitely catching this next patch, especially Michael Self. And I think if Tanner's smart, he'll just get right in behind Michael. And when we know Michael's got a fast car, he always did at Daytona. It's the same car. So I think Michael's car will lead this draft way better. And that's exactly what he did. Got in behind him. More cars will go faster.
Zoom teleconferencing suddenly became a big way to communicate with everybody. And in a Zoom call with Hailie Deegan, she talked about one of the most valuable things she learned about pack racing is how to actually back up to go quicker. Is that what Michael Self just did? Backed up, picked up that line of cars, Matt, and that's why this freight train's going to come hauling to the front, do you think?
Hopefully. I mean, because it'll bring that second group up to him, but you never know. He could have got loose, and if you get loose and you chase the thing, next thing you know, you've lost that pack. So
one car off the pace quickly there. A little puff of fire coming out of Brandon Lynn's car. Guarantee this is probably not a scheduled pit stop.
Look, he got a little loose there, a little wiggly. I might have a tire going down.
Another car on pit road as well. Again, with a mid-race break coming. Depending on what they do to this car, technically not allowed to change tires, technically not allowed to add fuel without ARCA's authorization. Additionally, Katie Osborne, there are only 4 guys that are allowed over the pit wall. We'll talk more about that in a minute, but let's get caught up on Michael Self.
Yeah, there was that thought, Dave, that he was overheating. I just went over to Kevin Reed, Michael Self's crew chief. He gave me a thumbs up. He said, no problem there. We're just trying to wait to get someone behind us.
He did have 5 cars out in front of him, blocks all that clean air. Now he's the lead car in that draft. It's probably cooling off.
Yeah, great call, Michael. He must have backed up and, like you said, to get into the front of that draft.
So the 22 on pit road. Not sure what's going on there as the team continues to look at that. Meanwhile, that 5-car freight train pack is running away. Drew Dollar has spent the entire 14 working on lap 15 at the front of this race.
Right now, Dave, this front pack, you know, they did have a half hour of practice earlier today, and just to let these guys get on the track, shake the cars down, and the front pack's about 5 miles an hour faster than they were in that practice, but that's because they are 5 cars together. We know how much faster that is than a single car, but they are definitely getting around quick.
Haley's making me nervous. She just did that again, did that apron, got her left side down there. Later on, that's going to be a little bit harder whenever you get somebody on your door going through there, without a doubt.
Cars turning laps at better than 175, almost 180 miles an hour. For more on the 15 car, let's check in with Katie.
Joe White, Drew Dollar's spotter, is telling him not to get too far ahead or he might get gobbled up. They're already talking about not gapping the pack. Todd, Matt, how challenging is it to manage that as a driver, especially when you're running out front?
Oh, it's definitely tough. I mean, some of that has to do with your spotter, too. I mean, as a race car driver, you're watching the rearview mirror. You watch the rearview mirror just as much as you look out the front of these cars. And it's just about dragging the brake a little bit and your spotter telling you the gap that you have on the guy behind you.
Well, this is Drew Dollar. He is 19 years of age, and he's from Atlanta, Georgia, and he has been in command since the start. The General Tire 200. Not bad for a guy who discovered racing just 4 years ago. Drew Dollar continues to be the engine of a 5-car runaway train at the ARCA Menards Series General Tire 200. But a very nervous, tense moment coming on lap number 17. And with the help of a wrap car, Eric Coddell, the 18 of Riley Herbst, almost derailed the entire train.
We wondered when they were going to get a little racing in going around the lap car. Riley wanted to get the lead here.
Now, I said that something about that earlier, about the kids wanting to get racing early.
Take a listen. Yeah, you saw the whites of the eyes there kind of open up. A couple of quick hand gestures there, but doing a good job of keeping control of that race car.
Yeah, he knew what was going on. He was looking in the mirror, paying attention. Riley got under him, but ended up saving it. It was a good save there. That's tough to do.
I had said it earlier just about his eyes. If you watched his eyes, he was looking in that rear view mirror more than he was actually looking out the front of that car at that moment.
It happens.
The thing that you don't like is when we listened to that onboard and heard the motor rev up just for that split second. That's not fun.
Hey, it's that oh moment.
Yeah.
The typical fan probably not even going to pick up on hearing that, but what does that feel like in the seat of your pants?
It's a very uneasy feeling, to be totally honest. It's not something you like feeling without a doubt.
They write a song about that, like the uneasy rider. That's an uneasy ride right there, for sure. You know what's interesting about this top 5-car pack, besides the fact that Tanner Gray has slowed suddenly in that 17 for David Gilliland Racing, is the fact that that 5-car pack now has opened up almost a 9. Well, excuse me, my math is bad again. Almost a 13-second gap on the second pack of cars. They are breaking away.
Yeah, what that tells me is Drew Dollar's got a really fast car. When you get that fast car at the front of the line, he's going to pull those guys faster. It's just common sense. And we got Michael Self leading that second pack, and he might not be. It looks like Gustine's looking to take the lead of that pack, but
this will slow him down without a doubt. They get to racing side by side.
Dino, a nice run through the trial, bringing the 46 and Moffitt along. Remember, Moffitt started back in 21st. That's a race for now 7th spot. Give it to the 46. That relegates Michael Self back to 8th.
Well, here we see why they've pulled away. The first pack's pulled away from the second pack. It's only 3 cars now. That 3-car pack is just not going to go as fast as the 5-car pack.
The more cars in that train, the faster you're going to go, without a doubt, especially having a really good car like Dollar has.
And I got to believe right there we saw just a switch of position to see if the Gus Dean could lead that pack, those 3 a little faster.
Yeah, it could have been that. I mean, there's definitely been plenty of times I've been here, and you'll be leading the pack, and you'll have somebody switch with you just to see if they can lead the pack a little bit faster.
Exactly.
So we'll have to keep an eye on that.
Drew Dollar's eyes, we saw, were a good indicator. I sometimes look when I see cars making moves down the line at you two at our social distancing area. You guys take notice of this. Crafty, you just said, oh boy, car's got a little slippery right there.
Yeah, without a doubt. Especially they're getting quite a few laps on the tires. And I know they're talking about not putting tires on throughout the whole race, but as a race car driver, I know that the wearing is an issue, but when the tires get hot and greasy, you're going to do a lot more slipping and sliding. So that's going to be a little bit more of a handful a little bit later in the race for those who are on tires.
Drew Dollar is working that wheel. I mentioned 4 years ago he got involved in racing, pulled an A in math. Parents said, okay, go out and get a legend car. That led to bigger and better things. And how about this? Now he's leading the General Tire 200. He's doing it at iconic Talladega Superspeedway.
He's worrying me a little bit because he's getting up off the bottom, and Riley is really wanting to lead this race. He keeps sneaking his nose out there and wanting to get out front.
And this is Drew's 5th race in the ARCA Series and first one at Talladega. Doing a good job leading this pack.
We're going to step away. 24 down, still 52 to go. Lots can change, but so far it's been Drew Dollar with the most money so far today at Talladega. Drew Dollar, Riley Herbst continue to pace a 5-car breakaway here. Not much has changed while we were away at Talladega, except for perhaps the question about Hailie Deegan's tires. I think she should probably change those at the mid-race break.
Well, you know, there's really no reason to not change them because you restart on the racetrack the way that you enter the pits, so there's no penalty. If you have a slow pit stop or something happens, you might as well put the 4 tires on. To Matt's point, you know, these cars are starting to move around. You can see in the corner, and you watch on these in-car cameras, these guys are starting to slip and slide a little bit, so I gotta believe that if I'm one of these drivers, I'm going to tell my crew chief to put tires on for sure.
About 10 laps away from that mid-race break. That is something that the 17 car, Tanner Gray, Katie Osborne, definitely looking forward to as well. They need to make some adjustments on that Ford.
No doubt about it. Talking with David Gillihan, the owner there at DGR Crosley, he said Tanner's car, there's a mist coming out of it. They think a spark plug wire may have come off. They're going to run laps into green, but they're really hoping that midway break that they can get this fixed.
Right now, there's a question mark of whether he can get back on that lead lap. But what's that like, guys, running around when your car, I guess, feels like
you're down a cylinder?
Down a cylinder. Thank you for bailing me out.
There's nothing more aggravating when you're out there just running wide open. There's nothing you can do, and you got to miss the motor. So hopefully they can get that thing all tuned up and get Tanner back up front.
Well, it is 20 seconds back now to that second pack that includes Gus Dean, the Mashon Apparel Company, on board. We've also got the Sinclair machine, Michael Self, Thad Moffitt. That's one of the things that's going to make this mid-race break interesting. It will bring everybody back together here, and it will provide definitely a second chapter to this little novel.
They're trying everything there. They put Moffitt back out front and trying to get him to lead and see how much faster he'll drag the pack along. But right now, it's just a game of patience, just trying to be there at the halfway point just so you can have a shot at winning this thing at the end.
So, interesting question. Thad Moffitt cut his hair prior to the Phoenix event, donating it to charity, of those long flowing red locks. What did the pandemic do to it? Did it end up growing all the way back, I wonder? And Todd, when are you going to get some hair?
That is not going to happen, I can tell you that.
Yeah. Maybe he could have donated a little bit to you. You look good with red hair.
Great with red hair.
Look, I'm bald and I'm proud of it. You know, I don't have to have shampoo or combs or anything, so I'm good with it.
No product at all?
No product at all.
What a great way to make a living right there, baby.
A little more razors you go through, I guess.
Exactly, that's all. You see, these two have broken away from Gus Dean a little bit. I don't know if
that's not what they needed.
No, they needed to tighten the 3 of them up.
Gus Dean down pit road.
There we go, that's why.
And again, before this mid-race break, so what's going on with the Mashon at Chevrolet? Gus Dean, the only former winner. I mentioned earlier the fact that the last 13 races have produced 13 different winners, and it's looking like that is going to continue today. The top 5 comes screaming across to complete lap number 32.
During the break, Matt, you noticed Haley's car's not driving quite as well as it was earlier.
No, I know as a driver, I'd be saying, let's tow this thing out a little bit just to maybe get it where it'll drive a little bit straighter, or at the same time, it could just be free as well.
Remember earlier, Eric Caudell giving an opportunity to the 18. There's the 7 car. It's like the 5-car train is going to get around there.
Looked like Gus Dean had another motor problem going on, maybe a little drop cylinder or something.
Lap traffic, though, that's when it seems to become a little bit more interesting. But Dollar quickly around that 12 machine and quickly back down to protect that yellow line. 12 car Ed Pomba. Great to have him back racing with us.
It's unusual to get in some lap traffic, and these guys are doing a good job of just easing their way around them. Lap guys are staying at the bottom, doing what they're supposed to.
Ooh, Riley took a look to the inside around that 69 car, Scott Melton, but with a couple other lap cars there. Probably the wiser move.
Yeah, he is really wanting to lead this race.
Melton's going to go up and join that pack.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a big thing is what he can do when he gets the lead. It's about timing it right now. I mean, especially when he's catching these lap cars. See how the 15 has got out, Dollar got on him a little bit. He'll try to get a run on him here, and I bet at the halfway point he's going to try to get the lead for sure.
Half of 76 is 38, and we are now coming to the start-finish line 4 laps away. ARCA, of course, will make that ultimate call when that mid-race break is, but this could become one of the racier times for sure. Riley Herbst, as we mentioned, has just had so many seconds. Yes, he's won here on the ARCA Menards series, but so many seconds. He's tired of bringing that 18 car just to the podium. He wants to go the whole way. Look back to Thad Moffitt, his second ARCA race here at Talladega. Leading the current point leader, Michael Self.
Yeah, these two want to see that break just so they can catch back to that lead pack.
That's close quarters racing.
Like I was telling you, he's wanting to lead this race. I'm just going to wear your rear bumper out right now.
How is the 19-year-old keeping that composed? What kind of aerodynamics, fellas, are at play in a situation like that?
Well,
it's about trying to keep your rear tires on the ground.
That's one thing I was going to say, right? That's true. It's, you know, Riley's, like Matt said, he wants to lead. These kids, they all want to lead the race. Get up there, be the leader, show what they got. But, you know, you got to show a little patience. And right now, the only way anybody's going to pass Drew Dollar is if they team up. And I just don't see that happening. Coming for the halfway break. You really want to just stay in line and finish this run out. We've only got the 7 cars in the lead lap right now, and that'll pay for the end of the race.
Katie Osborne has more on Hailie Deegan.
Yeah, another one who's trying to stay in line there, who's buying time is Hailie Deegan. The car is running well. She is just trying to be smart and manage those runs for the right time. I asked Seth Smith when that right time was. He said, towards the end of the race, we don't have a ton of help right now, Dave.
Second at Daytona. It ties the best finish ever by a female. Shauna Robinson, Aaron Crocker, Evernham. What's no help mean? Help explain those that may not know what she's talking about.
Well, if you want to pass anybody, you got to have another car with you, somebody to help push you past the cars in front of you. And you know what they're talking about right now is nobody's going to help anybody. They just need to stay in line. And I think that's what the idea is right here.
Riley's backing up off of him right there and going to try to get that run by. And I think what she is talking about, if you do look at it, it's 3 Toyotas, 1, 2, 3. Then you have a Ford, and then you have a Chevy. So she's thinking that as well.
So Thad Moffitt and Michael Self, that is how far they trail this lead pack by. We're on lap 38 right now. 37 are in the books. Drew Dollar has been at the front. The question is now, when does that competition caution come out? Does anybody in this 5-car pack feel brazen enough to make a move right now? Knowing a yellow flag, a competition caution, if you will, is coming.
Well, I think that's what's in Riley's mind, is he would like to have the lead for that competition caution. So when they go back green, he is the control car. He'll have the inside line and more than likely take the lead at that point. So I think that's what he's trying so hard to get around Drew Dollar.
Well, Brett Holmes, no doubt, is biding his time. You're right on board with him. 64th race of his career, and there is the move we were talking about. Coming to the stripe.
And did it all alone.
Can he hold on?
Nope.
I was going to say Brett Holmes is biding his time too, but he has made a big time move as well. Now we got cars side by side. Battle is now for the lead. When will the competition caution come out, and who ultimately will be in first? Riley just outside that right door panel of Drew Dollar. Brett Holmes giving the Monster Machine a big push.
It's going to be tough to beat those 3 cars on the bottom with just those 2. Hailie, she needs to get out there and maybe help that outside group if she wants to get up there. Woo, he's side drafting him a ton.
And Brett can't hold on to Riley, and that is not going to push Riley at all, or help him in his case at all.
And here comes the caution. And it does so with Riley Herbst.
Yep, Riley needs to side draft
the lead.
Yep.
So the Richmond Water Heater mid-race break is upon us just as it was getting interesting. Drew Dollar, Riley Herbst, Ryan Rebko, Brett Holmes, Haley Deegan. And it's actually Drew Dollar that is your leader. Before we start the 5 minutes, pit stops should come your way when we return to Talladega. Take a breath, everybody. More fun to come. So cars making their way onto pit road now. They will make the necessary adjustments, changing tires, putting fuel in there, and that gives us an opportunity now to bring you the Richmond Water Heaters mid-race recap. And we take you all the way back to cars on pit road. Social distancing not in effect when you drive a race car. You can get inside of 6 feet 100. It's 200 mile an hour. It's called drafting, fellas.
That's what you got to do here at Talladega.
And that's what exactly Riley Herbst did to Drew Dollar, giving him a shove from that outside row 1 spot. Rebko led briefly, but Dollar has been in control since that time. A nervous moment here, though. Getting ready to come up. We'll show that in a minute. It's the 22 car, Brandon Lynn, slowing. Takes him officially out of contention. Here's that nervous moment. Lap cars, Tommy Vi, Eric Huddell in the way, and next thing you know, 15's got a whole lot of rear view full of the 18. Giving him a little knock on the backside, letting him know he's there. Gus Dean, the only Talladega winner, he's got problems. He visited pit road earlier, pretty much ends his shot. Got racy here, though, as the caution flag, fellas, was getting ready to come out.
Riley Herbst, he gave it a college try, trying to get that lead coming to the half of the break. Didn't quite get it done, didn't have any help on the outside.
And as the flag flies to complete lap number 39 and stop this race at its midpoint, it is Drew Dollar. We've had 1 caution for 1 lap. Technically, it's the one that's happening right now. But, guys, we talked about the pit stops, social distancing, limited number of crew guys here. Guys are given 5 minutes on pit road. Once the last car came to pit road and stopped, that clock started, and only 4 guys can come over the wall. They can change fuel, they can change tires, but they don't want any of that stuff happening at the same time. Got to be separate.
Yeah, we see the guy in 18 there torquing them tires, so they obviously changed all 4 tires.
Let's go down with more on the 15 and the 18. Katie Osborne, find out what those teams are doing.
Yeah, the leader, Drew Dollar, in the number 15. Shannon Roche asked him if he needed anything. He said, nope, the car is good. Shannon also added that Drew is a great guy. He's a cool kid. Meanwhile, the number 18 in the second spot, he asked if, crew chief asked if he needed anything. Riley said, I just need track positions. We'll change fuel and tires. Dave?
Well, he'll start in the second spot. Matt, what do you think about that?
Oh, that's going to be tough. He put tires on. I can see Dollar did not put tires on.
Yep.
So I know the tire wear isn't going to be the issue. It's just going to be when the tire gets hot and greasy, and it's going to move around. And when you have Riley beating on your rear bumper and he has tires, it's going to make it a handful.
Doesn't matter when it goes through a heat cycle. It's gotten all the way hot. Now it's going to cool off a little bit before it warms up again.
Yeah, it's not going to be as cool as that 18 car.
No, Drew's going to have his hands full at the end of this race, for sure.
Cars will be back out on the racetrack. We'll have the conclusion, or the continuation, you will, of the General Tire 200 when we come back. Lots more twists and turns to come from Talladega.
The 2020 season underway.
Big time problems.
They spin and crash. Everybody sliding down the banking.
Michael Self wins his second Daytona 200.
Haley Deegan comes home second.
It's time to turn them loose at Phoenix Raceway.
They made contact before they even get to the start-finish line. 1 to go.
How about this? Chandler Smith has just pulled the upset. You know, when you win a race under the Venturini Motorsports banner, you are said to be flying the V. So far, they have done that twice this year, and with Drew Dollar in command of this race so far, the Venturini Motorsports crews, Todd Bodine, look to make it a trifecta, if you will.
Well, Billy Venturini's done an incredible job of building this race team, along with the support of Toyota and everybody at TRD. They've continued week in and week out to have some of the best race cars at the racetrack, and it would not be a surprise for me to see one of his cars win. Can Michael Self come up from 7th place here, our Daytona winner, and be the only repeat winner this year?
Well,
and we'll have to see.
He is a guy, Katie Osborne, that has overcome plenty of adversity before to put himself in the right position at the end.
No doubt about it. He has that experience, and Kevin Reed, his crew chief, has also won here. But because they lost that draft earlier in the race, they did lift the hood to check to see what was happening. Well, where it says Camry on his car, there's actually an indentation. They added tape to that area so it wouldn't peel apart. So although he has had to deal with adversity in the past, we'll see if this plays into it in the rest of the race.
Career best third, looking for his first Talladega win. Talladega, of course, a very special place to win. Such an iconic racetrack. And Todd Bodine, you've been able to do that in your truck racing days a couple of times.
Yeah.
Truck racing on this track is fun.
I got lucky a couple times. Right here, if Rick Crawford would have pulled out another 100 yards sooner, he would have beat me to the line, but I beat him by about a foot. Got lucky there. Had a great run with the Germain Racing Toyota. It's and here, past Kyle coming off a 4 with the help of Ron Hornaday, and Ron got second and I won. So it was
past Kyle?
Past Kyle. He was leading off a 4. He was mad too afterward.
How about that?
Yeah.
That is something else. Well, here you ride on board with Drew Dollar. Boy, this kid is showing maturity beyond his 19 years. Such a sharp kid. In addition to being involved in tennis that he talked about, does volunteer at homeless shelters with assisted living groups. He's a Eucharistic minister, so this is a kid that's really focused, doing a really good job at such a young age. I can't even remember what I was doing at 19. It certainly wasn't anything as good or as important as the work that he's doing.
No, that's for sure. 19 years old, I was racing short tracks in New England, and didn't even dream of being in NASCAR's upper divisions, and at the time just having fun. But the kid's really doing a great job.
Todd Bodine, of course, a two-time truck champion. Matt Crafton, you're able to one-up him in that column. He's got you on wins. You got him on championships.
Yeah, exactly. I got the bigger trophies, though.
I got more of them, though.
Yeah, true.
And let me tell you, the hardest part of this job isn't necessarily just watching what's going on during this race. It's kind of separating you two guys during the commercial breaks.
Well, we've had a couple on-track incidences before. But
discussions after the race? That whole thing?
We won't go there.
Well, 40 laps are down, 41 when they come to the stripe here, and we are set to go green. The remaining 36 laps of the General Tire 200 at Talladega are back underway. And look at the 20 this time, trying to push the 15. Keep him out in front of that 18. That can't be good if your name's Riley Herbst.
Riley was counting on that push from Haley, and she just didn't get going through the gears good enough. We'll see. Yeah, she's hooked up pretty good now right here.
Thad Moffitt's in that train as well. Those are a couple of Fords trying to push that Toyota on the outside lane.
And Dollar got out too far off turn 2 as well.
Oh, yeah, there change at the front.
Oh, he's trying to help her too. I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think Haley's in trouble right here. She didn't have anybody strong right behind her.
So that relegates Dollar to second. Does he get up on the wheel right now, or does he try to bide his time, do you think?
I think right now you just bide your time a little bit and ride right there in the tire tracks of Riley Herbst and kind of formulate a plan. Try to get some people behind you that you can count on. Maybe a teammate or something to help you at the end of this race get back by him.
Well, his teammates in second and third. We haven't said much about Ryan Repko, the 20-year-old out of Denver, North Carolina, driving that same car that Chandler Smith drove to the win in Phoenix. Part-time this year with the team, sharing it with Chandler, but that kid's showing plenty of poise as Michael Self finds himself back in fifth now.
Looks like they got Tanner Gray going back as well, so that could be a really good thing for Haley at the end of the race, just getting all three of the DGR Fords lined up together.
Tanner a couple laps off the pace. Yeah, it could be the fly in the ointment. It could be helpful to some, hurtful to others. 3 wide at Talladega, almost 180 mile an hour. No problem at all. Good to see Gus Dean back on the racetrack.
Yeah, Gus had a ECU issue. Went 6 laps down, but car's running good again.
Meeting that sandwich is Eric Caudell out of Piedmont, Oklahoma. He's got all the UNOH students that are helping him. He's also got a sticker. Hashtag Rachel Dawn Runs. She was part of a cross-country team in Moore, Oklahoma was inadvertently hit by somebody. She lost her life, but as an endurance runner, has the sign on her hand that said finish it. That's their motto. Erica Dell just wants to get laps here and try to finish this race. Let's go back and take a look at the pass for the lead, show you how it happened. It looked like Chandler Smith was going to help Drew Dollar, but then all of a sudden that outside line with Haley Deegan shoving on Riley Herbst changed everything.
Yeah, poor Haley. She did all the work right there and ended up paying the price.
And there's nothing more aggravating as a race car driver when you push that guy at the lead and he turns left and leaves you out there by yourself. You're like, oh, you're supposed to help me here.
What happened there? Did Riley drive away from Haley, or did Haley lose contact?
A little bit of both. I mean, she gave him such a good push that he did drive away from her. And there's really nothing Haley's going to do but just ride in his wake. And if Riley would have stayed up, maybe she could have got around him. But he didn't. He pulled right over, which immediately slowed her car down.
Yeah, it's like throwing the anchor out at that point whenever you're out there by yourself like she was.
Where does Haley find herself now? Back in 7th. We had 7 cars on the lead lap with free pass. Going to the 97 car of Jason Kitzmiller. For more on the 23, here's Katie.
Brett Holmes there. This is a hometown track for this guy, 20 minutes away. He says he actually used to hear the cars from his back porch. He grew up racing at the go-kart track and the short track across the street. And basically, it has molded him into the driver that he is today. He does say he gets a little emotional driving in Talladega, the history of his family. And it's even less about the pressure, but it's really the excitement that he feels driving into the racetrack. Todd, Matt, are these feelings that are these sentimental feelings so important for these drivers?
Well, when you're a young guy and you get to come to some place that to you was bigger than life, Talladega Superspeedway, yeah, it's huge to come out here and make laps, do something that you've dreamed your whole life of doing. And for this young man to be running up front with a chance to win this race, I mean, there's nothing bigger.
He's trying to join the Alabama gang, if you will.
Yeah,
like most iconic names in the sport.
Yeah, absolutely. And anytime you're coming close to home, and that's always one of the cool things. Like whatever the Truck Series used to race out in California, and it was close to home, and then you get to bring along your friends and family, and just that little bit of extra.
Unfortunately, he doesn't have any friends or family here.
Exactly.
Which is a shame, to come out here and run this well and not be able to do it in front of your friends and your mom and dad and all your family. That makes it a little less sweet, but I know he's having a great time out here.
The 18 is Herbst, the 15 is Dollar, the 20 is Repco. I identified him as Chandler Smith, who has been in that car and will continue to be in that car at parts of this year, that are in front of Brett Holmes. Like we said, Michael Self, yeah, maybe he just kind of sat back a little bit, got that engine to cool off, knowing that mid-race break was coming, and now he's found himself back in that lead pack.
They had that little hole in the front of that thing. I really didn't think it would be that big a difference, but obviously it was. I mean, right in the middle maybe is why it just put a little too much drag in the car and he couldn't keep up. But now he's running 5th right here, and that's all you got to do is put yourself in a position.
I believe we may have said earlier that Brett Holmes, we think, took no tires, actually did take 2 tires, so a couple of new General tires on the side of his machine. As he tries to chase down that 20.
I think I'd have taken 4. How about it, Matt?
Oh, absolutely. 4. Give me 4 all day long. I don't care if tires are wearing.
Put them 4 feel goods on there and go after it.
The one thing we haven't talked about with Brett Holmes, a guy who's been doing this a long, long time, still has yet to get that first ARCA win. He's been close so many times. This is his 64th race, 14 top 5s. That's all that he wants to do, is to get that win, and he's hoping that he and Shane Huffman can get that job done today. Nothing beats the roar of a stock car, so right now I invite you to grab your remote, sit back, relax as we crank it up here with the ARCA Menards Series at the General Tire 200. Boy, nothing sounds better than the roar of an engine at pace around Talladega Superspeedway. Well, it's Riley Herbst that continues to lead. Behind him, though, a couple of Venturini cars that's led a couple of the Venturini crew chiefs scratching their heads. How are we going to get around that 18 with only 26 to go? You're on board with Drew Dollar at the General Tire 200, the race leader for the first 39, but now he's looking forward at Riley Herbst, who has led the last 15. You know, the CDC says that eating buffets is still bad, but imagine if you had a buffet of races to choose from. Boy, we got a weekend slate for you like no other. The Unhitched 300 coming your way tonight. Tomorrow, the Geico 500, all kinds of race coverage surrounding that. The old Talladega Super Buffet, not too bad either.
Fill up a little bit on that buffet this weekend.
Yes, you will. Yeah. The 25 car continues to ride in fifth. Michael Self. Katie Holmes, what do you got to say about that team?
Here with Kevin Reed, the crew chief on the 25. We saw a little powwow between him, Shannon Rush, crew chief on the 15, and Kevin Jr., who's a car chief. I was asking, what can we expect out of Venturini Motorsports, or maybe Michael Self altogether?
Well, we got, three cars, the Venturini Motorsports, three cars in the top 5 there. So, I mean, all of them running on great General tires. We didn't have to change tires to brake. We'll be able to run them all the way to the end. But we brought our friends with us, so hopefully 3 versus 2 wins, and we get a Venturini Motorsports car in victory lane here at the end. We've got Michael, Drew, and Ryan here. Hopefully we can get them lined up and outrace Brett and Riley here in a little bit.
Well, we know this is a team that knows how to get the job done. We wish you and the guys the best of luck here as we finish out the race.
Thank you.
You know, if Kevin Reed can get that 25 across the stripe first, there'll be plenty of emotion poured from him. He wears his emotions on his sleeve. And right now, it's Riley Herbst, his crew chief, Mike Farland, a former racer turned crew chief extraordinaire. They picked up the ARCA Menards East Series win with Ty Gibbs just 7 days ago. They're trying to go back-to-back here at Talladega with Riley Herbst.
Here we got 3 Fords lined up. Thad Moffitt, Haley Deegan.
Lead lap cars, Tanner Gray. Off the pace, all 3 out of the same camp trying to get their way back to the front.
And they continue to lose ground. Haley's, she's you can see her inexperience right here. She's just not staying in line. I think they might have tightened her car up under that brake, and I've noticed that Thad just pulls away a little bit, especially on the exit of the corners. She can't hold it down. You see her right here. She's sliding up just a little bit, and that just slows her momentum down. Then if you can't stay up on that car in front of you, you're not going to make any time, and they're actually losing time. They're over 5.5 seconds back now.
If you look, that front group is definitely a lot closer, bumper to bumper, than the DGR Fords are. They're just gapped apart too much, and then there's not as many of them, so they have everything working against them.
One thing I noticed, Matt, is it seems like these bodies don't like to pull right up on the car in front of them. There's always that bubble in between them, and that makes it hard. Yeah, that makes it hard when you're trying to make time.
That's a look from Drew Dollar. He had the look that Riley Herbst had for the early race. Now Herbst trying to chase down the 15 early, but the mid-race break and the ensuing restart has brought change to the General Tire 200. And this time by the stripe, complete lap number 58. There will be 18 laps to go. I mentioned the 18 driver futility inside of that car, racing in the ARCA Menards series. He's had 10 podium finishes, 11 if you count his one and only win. But of those 10 podium finishes, 6 seconds, 3/3.
Man, that's aggravating.
Yeah, you guys are the race car drivers, have to deal with those numbers. I just get to present them.
You get that close to winning, it really gets frustrating not getting the victory lane. But he did it one time, and he's got a great shot to get it again today.
And he is very ultra aggressive, as you can see that.
When do you guys think, with now 18 to go, when's the moves going to start? Are we going to be kind for a few more laps?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what the Venturini team has planned. As we see Michael's the 5th one in line here. Will his teammates pull out in front of him and he get out there with them and try to get a 3-car draft against a 2-car draft? It's going to be interesting to see what lap they're going to do it, how close to the end.
As Dollar, I just want to sit second till 1 to go. Right, Todd? Maybe 2 to go?
That's what you'd want to do.
You guys just stay back there, and you guys can play around. But I just need to sit here in a second and have a shot at the end of this thing.
Well, how important are team orders at that point? You tell Drew, hey, look, we want you to pull outside the 18, and your teammates are going to go with you. That's hard to do when you're running second right there, let me tell you.
Oh, yeah. They better go.
Well, let me offer this. We may be staying nose to tail here, but cars are definitely getting racier. Granted, it was only 4 or 5 laps of practice, but the practice speeds back then were in the 53.2, 52.3 range. They're turning a full second faster. They're turning some of the fastest laps of this race right now.
Well, right now I think that the fastest car on the track is leading this draft for sure. Riley Herbst has been racy all day. Now he's leading his pack. He got the fastest car at the front, and that's when the pack is going to go the fastest. So these guys behind him are just riding along for the ride right now.
That's the General Tire onboard camera. Looking ahead at the 20. It's Ryan Repko, Brett Holmes trying to win one in Alabama. What a moment that might be.
Here's that little second pack of 3 that have lost 4 more seconds. They just can't get any speed out of 3 cars.
Begs the question, Katie Osborne, what's going on with those Fords?
Yeah, the Fords are all trying to plan and strategize together. Crew Chief Seth Smith of the number 4 said the 18 dropped us on the top a bit. Felt like 18 left us out to dry on that restart. We didn't have a group, but now all 3 of the DGR Crosleys are together. They're going to try and get a run, and hopefully the top 5 start to break apart. How possible, Todd, do you think that is right now in this race?
I think that's next to impossible right now. Those 5 up front just want to stay in line and run some more laps. We're getting close now. I'm going to say it's 15 to go. Within the 10-lap mark, they're going to start making some moves and seeing what happens. And I don't think these guys really stand a chance of catching them.
Hailie Deegan, though, some 10 seconds behind your race leader, Riley Herbst, who continues to lead. We'll be back for the conclusion to see if Hailie can put it all together and get herself back in the mix in today's General Tire 200 at Talladega. Back at the General Tire 200 Talladega Superspeedway, Riley Herbst continues to lead in that number 18 Monster Toyota. Only 1 win on the series. It came back in Pocono in 2017. Right now, just 10 short laps away and a couple of trips around lap cars for making that happen. Here's a look with a 20 to the inside. He'll lose spots. Look at Brett Holmes. Michael Self relegating that Repco machine, the 20, back to 5th. Brett Holmes looking for his first win, is 1 position closer.
Looked like Brett got in the back of him a little and hands full for just a second. That slowed his momentum just a little bit, and he got out of line, and back to the end of this line he went.
It's just that quick. Matt Crafton lap times have picked up another 4/10. It's getting racy. It's go time at Talladega.
Oh, yeah, they caught that group of lap cars right there, and when you catch that group, you get a huge tow. And at that point, where Dollar needed to lay back and be able to possibly get his run, but do you really want to be leading right now?
Let's go back and take a peek at that. That's Eric Caudell in the 7. Herbst with a good run on the backside of him. But then it looked like Dollar went with him in the 20. Maybe just got caught. A momentary decision maybe gone wrong.
Well, it's definitely a decision gone wrong. I don't think Repco really thought that he was going to run in the back of him, and when he did, it just killed the momentum of his car, and he lost. Those guys went outside that lap car, so he was stuck down there by himself, and it really cost him.
We saw Riley doing it earlier. We're seeing Dollar. We're seeing Holmes do it now. This kind of shuffling around behind the leader. What's happening there?
I think some of it is just like those hot, greasy, slick tires, is they're just sliding around a little bit more each and every lap, and where the 18 might have a little bit of an advantage because he has the 4 fresher General Tires on.
I think the racing's going to start happening here pretty soon. You know what? Now we're down with 2 and 2. So if the Venturini cars it's even matched, and are they going to pull out? When are they going to pull out? You know, It's a tough decision to make.
Now Repko now finds himself 1.2 seconds back. That Ford contingent of Moffitt and Deegan are now 25 seconds back of that pack. So really setting itself up to be this 4-car showdown to the finish. Remember, Michael Self had some motor heating issues, but all of a sudden he's looking to the back of the 25. Is there going to be a run here?
Yeah, Dollar's really backing up, but they did lose their teammate Repko. He isn't in the picture anymore. Here he comes with that big run right now.
15 with a look on the outside. They touch. And somehow Dollar able to keep control, but he's not going to get the spot. And here comes the 23 to second.
He needs his teammate.
Yep. There's his teammate getting out there. 7 to go. And he's going to have to get back in line here. Oh, teammate left him hanging. I can't believe it. Crazy. And you know, these guys, all 4 of these guys don't have a lot of experience doing this. So do they just not understand the importance of staying in line and keeping that draft? Man, these Venturini cars got to get in line.
Oh, absolutely. They need to get in line. There was 7 to go. I think that was just definitely a little too early, without a doubt.
Alabama will come apart if Brett Holmes is able to do this. He may need some help. And let's take a look back at that sequence. It's Herbst, it's Dollar, it's Holmes, and it's Self. The 15 pulls to the outside. There's some tire smoke, some touching going on there. He did a great job keeping that car under control, and he almost snuck back into the lead.
Yeah, he definitely needed his teammates' help there a little bit.
Yeah, I think that rub right there is what took the momentum away from Drew and couldn't quite complete the pass.
So that'll be great onboard. Oh. I don't know how you guys do that at 185 miles an hour.
Close your eyes. Just kidding.
Brett Holmes had his eye on the prize for a moment.
The 21 he let off for. Go through the middle. We see in the left-hand side the 4 guys back in the pack here. Well, all 5 of them.
Yeah, they've got a group now.
Yeah, they got a group now.
Now we're going to get racy. We're inside 5 to go.
Repko's rejoining the fold. The 15 looks to the outside. He's got to go with him.
The kid is wanting to get back up there.
He was confident early when Katie Osborne talked to him.
But you can't sacrifice. He's sacrificing his teammate right now. And now he's hung out. Although he's got a strong car to be able to stay out there by himself. And he goes, gets back in line.
Yeah, but he's going to have help. He's going to have a couple of them to be able to do anything with Riley.
Couple of lap cars coming up. See how Riley handles this.
I think right now the guy that's going to decide the winner of this race is Michael Self.
Absolutely.
Whoever he decides to line up with, partner,
yep.
Yeah, he's the one that's going to control the winner of this race right now.
Inside of 4 laps to go now. You're scoring at home. That's just a little bit more than 10 miles. And 180 miles an hour, it goes by fast.
Yeah, I think the inexperience of Drew Dollar is what's costing Venturini, but they run back on here. Maybe they can get up there. Got 3 teammates in a row.
Now with more on the Venturini machines. Let's check in with Katie.
The crew chief of the 25, Kevin Reed, has declared the 3 cars are going to try and make a move to get around Brett and Riley to take the checkered flag here. We'll see if this all pulls together the way they are hoping.
Now 3 laps to go.
Drew's got to stay in line. Now the 20 had to lift. He got lucky there. The 20 had to lift, so we got back in line in front of him. But
right now they need to back up off those front 2. If they back up and give them 10 car lengths out in front of them, they will come with it.
You're exactly right. And look at Michael. He's doing that, Matt. He's trying to get his teammates lined up back there.
Yeah, they think they need to back up a little bit more than they did, and they need to be nose to tail to be able to get that run.
Yeah, they caught him here at the end of the back straightaway.
But just telling a bunch of young kids to back up off the leaders with
let off the gas.
Yeah, with 3 to go, just back up.
They don't know let off the gas.
No.
So when do you make this move, Matt? Do you try to do it on this 2 to go, or do you wait for that last lap?
I think you got to do it with 2 to go. If you're the Venturini cars, you better start backing up right now.
Do you think the 3 of them on the outside are going to be fast enough to get around those 2?
You better try.
We know the outside's a further lane. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're
here we go.
3 against 2. There you go.
Here we go. Michael's backed up right here. Did a great job. Oh, Brett trying to block him. Can he get it out there? No, he doesn't.
There you go. He broke him apart as well.
Yep.
There's the move by the Venturini machines. Michael Self has got a nose on the 18, but he's not got the lead just yet.
And the inside group is broke apart as well.
Oh, there goes Michael Self.
Straighten it out, buddy.
Yes.
Hey, great
job by
Fantastic.
him. But he tangles with Riley Herbst, and guess who's got the lead? Drew Dollar, right place, right time.
He's got a big lead if these guys can catch the draft together here. Two of them, Brett Holmes and Repko, right together.
1 lap to go.
They might.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, he's sitting duck.
Yeah, he is
sitting duck. He's done right here. Question is, are they going to wreck? Is he going to wreck trying to hold him back?
Well, Ryan Repko, it's just his 4th ever race. Meanwhile, Brett Holmes has been in 64 of these. Brett Holmes doesn't have an ARCA Menards Series win. None of the top 3 have an ARCA Menards Series win.
Now you got to tell the teammates not to wreck each other. Oh, he lifted.
He did. Unreal.
And we were doubting the kid, Todd.
Yeah.
For the final time, off turn 4, can Drew Dollar hold him off?
You better start swerving, start break that draft a little bit. I think he's got it.
He's got it. He's got it. He's too far back.
In just his 5th race, it
Brett
looks like
Holmes
Drew Dollar will be an ARCA Menards Series winner in perhaps the most unexplainable way we've seen yet. Our bounty rookie spotlight driver comes through. Drew Dollar gets the job done. How about the youngster? The 19-year-old out of Atlanta, Georgia.
He had a fast race car, but talk about being in the right place at the right time.
I gotta give a shout out to Michael Self, though.
That was an incredible save.
Unbelievable save right there. You just don't do that.
Spin at 185 miles an hour on 33-degree banking. Let's go back and take you through the moment of this race. The Venturini cars trying to team up on the 18. They just run Riley out of room, who runs Michael out of racetrack.
Actually, I think the 15 got in the back of Michael and turned him down, and that's what started the whole thing. I don't think it was Michael trying to get in front of him or anything. If you watch the end of it, he's, the 15, Drew Dollars is hitting the back of him and twist turns him.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. We're going to talk about the guy that won the race, but we're talking about that save for a long time.
Well, your unofficial results: Drew Dollar, Ryan Repko, Brett Holmes. All 3 guys looking for their first win. That man, Michael Self, unbelievable car control to come home 5th.
And Michael did everything right. He just what you said, Matt. He backed up through the trial, got that gap, made to run with his teammates. They were going to win the race.
Oh, absolutely.
The road to Talladega, I mentioned, started with an A in math 4 years ago to a legend car ride. Started in ARCA with DGR, then went to Venturini with Christian Eckes. Moved on to the trucks. That's how he inherits the 15. And in just that 5th start, Drew Dollar is now an ARCA Menards Series winner.
Yeah, what a finish in that ARCA Menards Series. I mean, unreal.
I said it earlier. I'm not even sure what I was doing at 19. I'm not even sure I would be able to handle a moment quite like this. They're flying the V. Venturini Motorsports has now swept the first 3 events of the year with 3 different drivers.
Billy Venturini done a great job of putting together a group of guys and working together with Toyota and just dominating this series week in and week out. Always up front. Got great drivers, excellent crew chiefs, just doing the job every week.
You know, it's another staple, a trademark, if you will, of a Venturini win is the Venturini kiss, social distancing in place. Not even sure Big Bill's here, so this could be a Venturini winner circle like no other.
Yeah, that's one reason I never wanted to drive for Billy. Big Bill, give you
Sure
that big
like
old
you,
kiss.
bud.
I love him to death, but I don't know if I want him kissing me. Love you, Bill.
Just sitting here just trying to take this all in. What we just witnessed there over the final lap was something that we're going to be talking about here for quite some time. The veteran of the sport, Michael Self, gets turned. Riley Herbst, again, another one of the guys who's not short on experience. When it's all said and done, the podium goes Dollar, Repko, and Holmes, another veteran, but is not able to hold off these young kids. Boy, the ARCA Menards Series, certainly a proving ground for these talented youngsters.
Yeah, this is only Drew's 5th career start in the ARCA Series and gets his first win. What a week for him.
And when the day began, it started with Katie Holmes talking with Ryan Repko, the pole sitter, who felt confident, but Drew Dollar, our rookie bounty spotlight driver, was also plenty confident. He's able to take it home from outside of row number 1, a second starting spot to grab his first career win and park that car at Toyota on the iconic starting line here. Or should I say, in this case, the finish line at Talladega Superspeedway. Going to be a very unique winner circle as well as the mass goes on. No crowd here, but an adoring fan base. No doubt Katie Osborne going to be loving on Drew Dollar, as well as folks and everybody back home in Atlanta.
Absolutely right about that, Dave. He started racing only 4 years ago, second year in a stock car, 19 years old, and you get your win at Talladega. How important is this win for your career?
Yeah, it's really important. I definitely needed this one. Definitely out of breath right now, but can't thank Shannon Rush enough. Venturini guys gave me the best car out here today. Had the best team, had the best spotter in the stands, Joe White, and he guided me through it, and lost a family member over the break, so this is definitely an emotional one, and this one's for him. I know he's watching up above.
Those last few laps, there was a whole lot of momentum, a whole lot of energy, and you can tell the emotion is starting to trickle a little bit. What was going on in your mind?
Well, I was just hoping that caution didn't come up out there at the end. They let me go all the way to the checker, and I think that was the right move, and then put on a good show.
How much of it today was luck versus skill versus the speed of your car?
Yeah, I mean, when you have these General tires on this car, they're almost indestructible. They got so much grip. Me and the 18 got into it. I was worried about maybe a tire rub, but no problem with these awesome General tires.
Well, you can't see a smile, but you can definitely hear it in his voice and see it in his eyes. Drew Dollar is going home with his first ARCA Menards Series win.
And no doubt when he picks up his cell phone, the messages will be flowing in like rain, which avoided this racetrack. Well, Drew Dollar had this thing won and lost numerous times, but he's in the right place at the right time to fly the V. The General Tire 200 at Talladega is complete. Back at Talladega Superspeedway, where the General Tire 200 at Talladega has just been completed in dramatic fashion. Rookie Drew Dollar takes the win, but the moment of the race came about a mile and a half back in the racetrack. Everybody jockeying for position. Riley Herbst trying to hold off the Venturini freight train, and when it's all said and done, a man who was trying to better a career best finish of third, Michael Self, just able to load up a race car here. Great job completing this, what looked like a for sure crash, but it didn't happen. But still, Michael Self has to be disappointed, Katie, by coming home in the 5th spot.
Michael Self definitely wasn't doing donuts finishing in 5th, but he kind of had a half of one there. Michael, how did you manage that save? It was absolutely incredible, especially at 185 wet miles an hour.
That's a lot of luck. Gotta let the banking catch us. Yeah, unfortunately, just not the position that I wanted to be in right then and right there. Thought, you know, we had the 3 VMS cars linked up together and thought we were going to be able to make something really big happen. And the 18 and I were kind of sawing each other out, and that let the 15 get to me and give me a big bump. And I started getting really, really loose in the rear end and kind of washing all over the place. And I just kept wandering down and kind of got hooked on the 18. You know, sorry to those guys. You know, I'm sure it's my fault, you know, in their opinion, and, you know, probably is a little bit. So just trying to get out there and fun racing up in the front. You know, I'm glad that it wasn't worse for us. Thanks, you know, it was awesome to be back today. It's probably not the most exciting race for the fans because we only had a couple of cars there, but huge thanks to everyone that did tune in today. Huge thanks to Sinclair for still being on board. You know, this has been kind of hard times for everyone. So for the sponsors, especially for Sinclair, Toyota hanging on board with us. You know, they've got a lot of essential workers, and we appreciate them being on board for us. Thanks, General Tire, for sticking with the series, for putting on this race, you know, for getting us back out here. We appreciate that. Champion, VMS, everyone. Glad we were able to bring in another top 5 at Talladega.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You did say it was fun running up at the top, but you weren't always there throughout the entire race. Adversity kind of dealt with that a little bit too, with some tape and a hole in the front. How would you describe adversity today for yourself as a driver?
Yeah, you know, there were cars that we could pair with really well and others that we couldn't pair with really well. And unfortunately, we just didn't line up with the 23 that well. The air bubble that these cars get, for some reason, was really bad for me behind him. And so we were trying to hang there in that first run and you know, just kind of ended up not having any help behind us, ended up dropping off, and kind of figured a couple things out there. That second one, when the 20 and the 15 were up there, you know, I could kind of leverage the position to get more air off of them when the 23 would move to the side a little bit. So we were able to hang, and, you know, and the 5 of us there, I think it was pretty fun racing, you know, kind of. Saw a lot from the younger kids, you know, Drew and Ryan. I think obviously learned a lot of lessons. You know, awesome for Drew and Shannon and those guys. Really glad to see the 15 team in victory lane there. He did a good job, and you know, they ran a smart race. I think everyone learned today, and you know, we just move on.
Well, as Drew called you, you're the fun uncle, and I'm sure he's excited that you're celebrating with him in his victory here today.
Yeah, good to see that. It's been the last couple of days working with Drew over in the Trans Am stuff with Mike Cope Racing up at VIR, and he's an awesome kid. You know, we'll move forward, and hopefully they can keep the momentum up, and we go just kind of continue to rack up wins. Cool to see Venturini to get their first Talladega win today.
No doubt about it. Congrats, Michael Self, on your 5th here. Today we'll see you at track again soon.
Thank you very much, Katie Osborne's perspective there on all things by Michael Self. Drew Dollar, the rookie, comes home first. Repco second. Brett Holmes represented Alabama well. How about Thad Moffitt, guys? The hard charger. From 21st all the way up to 6th, a plus 15 position.
He did a great job. And, you know, him and Haley got kind of hung out there and lost the lead draft. But, you know, they learned a lot. And I'm sure Haley learned a lot today.
You know, Michael Self had a lot of good things to say, found a lot of healthy perspective. Sometimes that's hard to find in the moments right after the big moment.
Very impressed with that interview. Great young man, great driver, and he's going to have a big future in this sport.
Tanner Gray struggles, tries to lead the Ford contingent back. The Ford cars, as we saw on page 1, come home in position 6 and 7 for Haley Deegan. Again, a good learning experience, Matt Crafton.
Oh, absolutely. She did a phenomenal job by pushing Riley up to the lead, and then he hung her out. I mean, but it's a tough deal right there.
Well, as we mentioned, Brett Holmes, the Alabama racer, comes home in position 3. Let's check in with he and Katie now.
Yeah, Brett Holmes, that was a heck of a race for you from start to finish. It seemed like you were battling kind of consistently throughout. How would you describe that race?
Yeah, I mean, we stayed up front all day. It was a tough race, gaining track position. You know, I wish I could have played out better than that, but you know, I'm never going to complain about the opportunity to get to race at Talladega. You know, I wish the racing was a little bit better, but I'll take any chance I get, and it's just a blessing to get to race here. And you know, we're knocking on the door. You know, we hate finishing third. It's tough to keep our heads up, but that's what we're going to do. And we finished third last weekend, so we've got some momentum with us to keep up, and we'll be in victory lane this season.
Yeah, only up from here as it relates to the second and third. You'll knock those off. But more importantly, this is your hometown track, and driving in here, it causes a whole lot of emotion, but also excitement for you. Talk about the day here in Talladega and how special it is to really race at your hometown track.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's why I'm you know, a little upset, but I finished in third. You know, a win here would mean more than anything, and I wish I could, you know, pull it off today, but I'm still happy to get a good finish here. This is our best finish here, so you know, it's been tough. Super Speedway races have been tough on us, but I'm happy with how we finished, and we'll get them next time.
Go get them next time. Wish you the best there. Brett Holmes, his best finish here at Talladega before this weekend. In 4 other starts, he had finished 9th.
Now, definitely a fast Chevrolet today. It'll be interesting to see what the season is like for he and crew chief Shane Huffman, who say that, yes, that win is coming. The win that ultimately came for Drew Dollar today at Talladega. Back with more in a moment. The ARCA Menards Series back on track, completing all 76 laps today of the General Tire 200 at Talladega, where rookie Drew Dollar has picked up the win. That's just the start of the weekend menu, if you will, at this great facility. It's the Xfinity Series coming up at 5:30 p.m. Eastern today. NASCAR Race Hub kicks off the action at 2:30 Eastern on Fox. Then it's the Geico 500 green flag shortly after 3 o'clock. Let's catch up with the runner-up down with Katie Osborne.
The number 20 of Ryan Remco pulled in in second. Now, this is long overdue. His best finish before this was in 2017 as an 8th place finish. This is almost like a victory in and of itself, but you are extremely warm right now. You can tell you're cooling off. How would you describe what just happened in your pseudo victory, if you will?
Oh, I mean, it was an awesome day. Wish we could have come out one spot better, but that's a huge win for Drew. I know he works hard to try to do good in this series and all that. Man, the heat, gotta give a shout out to my trainer, Coach Quinn, Jeff Stern, Stephanie, my nutritionist, for getting me to the end of this race. Also want to give a shout out to my mom, my grandma, and Mason Mitchell, Justin Boone, buddies of mine. Man, what an awesome day. It's so much fun to work the draft, and I had such a great car. I gotta thank Veterini Motorsports, Toyota, and Craftsman. Just a great day.
What happened there, Ryan, when you caught up to the leader at the end?
I don't know, just two guys really racing hard, you know, coming down to the win. I thought I was going to get collected, to be honest, but I went really high and was able to miss it. I don't know how I did that. Sorry, I am out of breath.
He's out of breath, and it's a little warm out here. We're going to go let you cool down and celebrate that second place, as you should. He told me at the beginning of this...
Well, in talking with Charlie Kroll on ARCA.com, they talked about who we'd love to sit down and have a meal with, either past or present. He said Dale Earnhardt Sr. He was pretty good at drafting.
Yeah.
He just learned a whole bunch about the draft today. Drew Dollar has leapfrogged Haley Deegan into second in the standings. That probably buttons up that rookie points battle a little bit too. But Michael Self, this is a guy that can turn some problems that may force other racers down a different path. He figures out a way to keep it together and hold on to the points lead in what could have been big-time trouble today.
Yeah, when you make that save, that's the kind of things that saved your points race, obviously. You know, didn't get wrecked and ended up coming back and finishing the 5th. So, you know, that's how you win points championships.
You know what I heard in his interview, some perspective. Last year, he doesn't like to talk about points. Can get to be a little down. Well, maybe this is a guy who's really learned a little bit after coming up in that runner-up spot to Eckes last year. Let's go back and take a look at this entire race from all the way back at the start to how it finished. And this is how it started with Riley Herbst giving the number 2 starter, Drew Dollar, a big push. Repco can't get the lead. The 15 and the 18 go out front.
A little close call here for Drew Dollar. That was a breathtaking moment.
Watch the eyes. Whoa. Yep, did a great job.
That little correct back to the right, that's the hard part. Yeah.
Gustine, the only former winner in the field today, having some issues, finds himself on pit road, guaranteeing a 14th consecutive year at Talladega with an original winner. The restart, look at the 18 go screaming by. Gets the push from Haley Deegan. But then here comes late in the race, Drew Dollar with a look on the outside. Some tire smoke. The 15 gets pushed up the racetrack. Another look at that. Both drivers keeping their cars in control. Then there's the save of the year, guys.
Absolutely.
Michael Self gets turned, but keeps it on all fours. That keeps the green flag out, and that is how Drew Dollar is able to take that Venturini Motorsports across the start-finish line and into victory lane. Not too bad as the 19-year-old flies the V today at Talladega Superspeedway. Well, Michael Self said maybe there wasn't a lot of drama, but there was a lot of jockeying, positioning, some mind games going on in that front 5, front 6 all day long.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that whole group right there at the end did a phenomenal job. Todd and I kept counting Dollar out because he kept getting out of line, and did phenomenal there at the end.
Yeah, and a typical Talladega finish. Yeah, it was not a lot of cautions, not a lot of action, but the end, it was typical Talladega. 5 guys racing to the win, and only one guy got there.
Guess what? We still got Xfinity and Cup coming from Dega as well. The next stop for the ARCA Menards Series just a few days away, next Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. So we head out to Pocono. For Todd Bodine, Matt Crafton, Katie Osborne, and our entire staff, I'm Dave Reeve. Congratulations to the rookie, Drew Dollar, who brought it home at Talladega today. Thanks for joining us.